Have you ever opened your child's IEP and seen services like speech therapy, occupational therapy, counseling, or physical therapy and wondered, what does all of this actually mean? Maybe you've even asked yourself, does my child really need these services? Or why does another child receive speech therapy but mine doesn't? If you've ever had those questions, you're not alone. Today, we're going to break down related services in plain language so you understand what they are, why they're recommended, and how they help support your child's success in school. Let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Navigating Special Education Together. I'm Rochelle Armstrong, founder of Liberated Hands, parent advocate, OPWDD, authorized support broker, and autism mom. My goal is to help parents understand special education in plain language so they can confidently advocate for their children. In our last episode, we talked about how to read an IEP without feeling overwhelmed. We broke down each section of the document so you know what to look for. Today, we're building on that conversation. Now that you know where services are listed in the IEP, let's talk about what those services actually are and why they're included. Before we begin, I want you to remember one important thing. Every child is different. That means every IEP is different. Try not to compare your child's IEP to another child's. The goal isn't for every child to receive the same services. It's for every child to receive the supports they individually need. Just because another child receives a certain service doesn't automatically mean your child should receive it too. The purpose of related services is to meet your child's individual educational needs, not to make every IEP look the same. So, what are related services? Let's start with the basics. Related services are support services that help a child benefit from their special education program. These services are recommended based on evaluations, classroom performance, teacher observations, and parent input. They're designed to remove barriers that may make learning more difficult. One important thing to remember is this: related services are based on educational need, not on a diagnosis alone. For example, two children may both have an autism diagnosis, but their needs may be completely different. One child may receive speech therapy, another may receive occupational therapy, a third child may receive both. It all depends on what supports are necessary for that individual child to access their education. Remember, related services aren't meant to fix a child. They're meant to remove barriers that might make learning more difficult. The goal is to help your child participate in school, make progress toward their IEP goals, and access the same educational opportunities as their peers. Before we discuss the different services, let's clear up a few common misconceptions. Misconception number one: every child with an IEP gets speech therapy. This is not true. Speech therapy is only recommended if evaluations show that communication challenges are affecting the child's ability to access their education. Misconception number two: occupational therapy is only for handwriting. While handwriting is one area occupational therapists may work on, they also support fine motor skills, sensory regulation, classroom participation, and self help skills. Another misconception is that more services automatically mean a better IEP. And this is not necessarily true. The goal isn't to receive the most services, the goal is to receive the right services. Now that we've cleared up some of the biggest myths, let's take a closer look at the most common related services you'll see in an IEP. When people hear speech therapy, they often think about pronunciation, but speech therapy is much broader than that. It can help children with understanding language, expressing themselves, social communication, following directions, conversation skills, vocabulary development. For example, a child may speak very clearly but still struggle to understand classroom directions or participate in conversations with classmates. Speech therapy helps build those communication skills. Occupational therapy is another common related service, and occupational therapy helps children become more successful in everyday school activities. It may focus on fine motor skills, handwriting, scissor skills, sensory regulation, self help skills, classroom participation. For example, maybe your child avoids writing because their hands get tired. Maybe loud noises in the cafeteria become overwhelming, or they struggle using scissors during classroom activities. These are the kinds of challenges an occupational therapist looks at. Think about it this way: has your child ever struggled to hold a pencil, avoid coloring or cutting, become overwhelmed by certain sounds, or have difficulty staying regulated enough to complete classroom work? These are all areas an occupational therapist may evaluate and support. Another related service is physical therapy. Physical therapy focuses on gross motor development. Many parents hear physical therapy and immediately think, my child can walk, so they don't need PT. But physical therapy is about much more than walking. It may help improve balance, coordination, posture, strength, endurance, and safely navigating the school environment. Counseling services also is a related service. School counseling is different from traditional therapy. Its purpose is to help students develop skills that support success in school. For example, learning how to manage frustration, develop coping strategies, build positive peer relationships, handle changes in routine, or solve problems appropriately. These are all skills that can have a positive impact on a student's school experience. Assistive technology is another related service. When people hear the words assistive technology, they often picture expensive equipment, but that's not always the case. Assistive technology can be something as simple as a visual schedule, a pencil grip, text to speech software, speech generating devices, or adaptive classroom equipment. The goal is to provide tools that help students access learning more independently. The final related service I will discuss in today's episode is transportation and parent counseling. Transportation can also be a related service. Depending on a student's needs, transportation may include specialized buses, wheelchair accessible transportation, or additional supervision during travel. Another service many parents don't know about is parent counseling and training. This service isn't about judging your parenting, it's about giving families strategies they can use at home so children receive consistent support between school and home. Now that we've talked about the different types of related services, you may be wondering, how does the school decide which services my child receives? Let's talk about how those decisions are actually made. A question I hear often is, can I just ask for speech therapy? You can absolutely share your concerns and ask questions, but related services aren't added simply because someone requests them. They are recommended based on evaluations and educational need. That means a service isn't added simply because a diagnosis exists. It has to address the need that's affecting your child's ability to access and make progress in their education. The team looks at information like evaluation results, teacher observations, classroom performance, therapy assessments, parent input. Then they determine which services are necessary to help your child make meaningful progress in school. Sometimes parents request speech therapy because their child speaks very little at home. Another parent may request occupational therapy because homework is difficult. Those concerns are absolutely valid. However, the IEP team also has to determine whether those challenges are affecting your child's education in school. That's why evaluations and classroom data are so important. Sometimes parents believe their child needs a service that wasn't recommended. Other times, the school recommends a service the parent doesn't fully understand. If that happens, ask questions. Ask why the service was or wasn't recommended. Ask for the evaluation results to be explained in plain language. Share what you're seeing at home. Remember, you are an important member of the IEP team and your perspective matters. Every parent should ask these questions before your meeting ends. Why was this service recommended? What specific skills will it address? How often will my child receive it? How will progress be measured? How will I know if the service is working? I know learning about special education can feel overwhelming sometimes. But remember, you don't have to become an expert overnight. Your job isn't to know everything. Your job is to understand enough to ask informed questions and confidently advocate for your child. Every episode you watch, every question you ask, and every conversation you have with your child's school is helping you become a stronger advocate. If today's episode was helpful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and download today's free parent toolkit. Inside, you'll find a guide to common related services, questions to ask at your next IEP meeting, and a worksheet to help you keep track of your child's services. If you're just joining us, I'll also link the full Navigating Special Education Together playlist below. Until next time, remember, knowledge builds confidence, and confident parents make informed decisions.